YouTube? Spoon! I know that seems like a really random declaration, but we're talking about the Tick today, so who cares? So, yeah, I'm a pretty big fan when it comes to the Tick, although it's rather recent. Yeah, when this. I forgot that this show even existed, but then when I was reminded of it, I decided to go and watch the whole thing, and then that motivated me to watch the other adaptations. Every other adaptation over the course of a weekend. And then I also rewatched this series, for good measure. And then I went and read the first 12 issues of the comic book. So, yeah. I have a lot of free time and I do not know how to spend it well. I think that that's just the moral of this. But yeah, really, I do like the Tick, and yeah, it was about time that I finally decided to actually look into his stuff, as I've been watching Looney Tunes for like 4 years now, and yeah, he talks about the Tick all the time, and yet I never decided to actually go and watch it. So yeah, it was about time that I finally did that, and yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I also really liked this version, but let's get into that a little bit more later. So, yeah, this version, what's very important to note is that it's a parody of the darker superhero stuff right now, most notably the Netflix Defenders stuff. Because while it does have a much lighter tone than those, it definitely does have a dark aspects. And this is not a show for kids, unlike all the other versions. Well, kind of all the other versions. The 2001 one was a little bit much for kids, admittedly. Like, that one's more like teens and stuff. But yeah, this one's definitely not for kids. This one has a lot more F-bombs and a lot more gore. So yeah, this is the adult version of the Tick. Something that we were all waiting for, I'm sure. So yeah, that's something that's very prominent with Arthur Everest's backstory. Yeah, you know Arthur, the nerdy little sidekick. Yeah, he has a dark backstory here. Of course he does. So, yeah, in this version, when Arthur was a kid, he saw his father and his favorite superheroes, the Flag Five, which consists of 6 members, ironically. They were all killed by the Terror right in front of him. And then the Terror did his worst act ever. He ate Arthur's ice cream. Bastard! I mean, like, okay, I get that you're gonna kill all these guys right in front of this kid, but eating his ice cream, that's just too far, man. That's just too far. He didn't even eat all of it. He just throws it on the ground after he, like, eats a little bit of it and then just throws it on the ground. Like, oh, wow, thank you. Thank you so much, Terror. Like, he could have enjoyed that little bit of happiness in his life, but no, you had to throw it on the ground. Monster. So, yeah, Terror is seemingly killed shortly after, but Arthur is unconvinced and has been obsessed with proving that he's still alive and still has control over the crime in the city. Yeah, still just called the city. Is anyone gonna actually come up with a name for this place at any point? I mean, like, I get that it's funny, and don't get me wrong, I love that it's called the city, but this place needs a name at one point. It's gonna have one eventually. So, yeah. Pretty much he still thinks that he's still behind all the crime in the city, and he finally gets a big lead in that when Miss Lint, the Terror's right-hand woman, starts stealing some super tech for the Pyramid Gang. That night he meets the Tick, a superhero who doesn't even know his own backstory, just that he's a hero. And the Tick steals the tech that Miss Lint was after and gives it to Arthur because it'll fit him. Yeah, that's kind of the only reason why Arthur actually gets to sue in this version. It just so happens that it fits him here. And yeah, he's reluctant to don it at first, but after a while, he eventually gets into his destiny as a sidekick, and the two of them, with the help of the allies they make along the way, go after the Terror, who is proved to be alive. Yeah, I think that's something that we all kind of knew going into this. I mean, like, if you know about the Tick, then you know about the Terror. He's one of the major villains from the show, and yeah, he's a fun one, and yeah, I can definitely see why he's the main villain of the first season. However, personally, I would have gone with Chairface Chippendale. I don't know how they would have made him look, but I want Chairface Chippendale on this show, damn it. Sorry, I just want a guy with a chair for a face to be a main villain on this show. I'm sorry, that's gotta happen at some point. Make it happen right now, Amazon. Make it happen. I also want to see the Human Ton, Mr. Mental, and probably the most dastardly of them all, Charles. Yeah, okay, I just like the villains from this. And yeah, this show really doesn't have that many villains, admittedly, with mostly the Pyramid Gang, Miss Lint, and the Terror, and that's kind of it. Yeah, the original show had tons of villains. And then, of course, the 2001 one didn't have many, but that's because that was more of a that's pretty much more of a sit-down show, like what the superheroes are doing in their off time. So it's pretty much a good, more adult version of Teen Titans Go, just not terrible. Like, it's actually good. So, yeah. So, yeah, that one, it didn't really need that many supervillains, although it still had the Terror, and so, yeah. Terror's like a really big part of this lore, and yeah, admittedly, I really do like the Terror in this show. He is handled really well, and the actor does a really great job with him, really, really well convincing, and honestly, I do really like the menacing and just sort of humor to him. I mean, I don't really find him that scary because, well, I mean, he's still just an old guy being a supervillain. I never really found him scary, but yeah, I do still find him a lot of fun in this show, especially with his odd obsession with drums. I don't know why he's obsessed with drums, but he is for some reason. So, yeah, with this show, it's much more adult than any other version, which is something that I've already brought up, but yeah, that's definitely something that needs to be noted again. It's much more adult, and admittedly, that does kind of ruin the tone a little bit for me, which to me is probably the weakest part of this show, as it kind of flip-flops back and forth from being dark and also being very lighthearted. Now, to be fair, it can handle this rather well. It's just that sometimes, yeah, it's extremely prominent, and sometimes it can be distracting to me. However, eventually I was able to overlook it. It's just that, yeah, it definitely does take a while for it to fully get into its footing, and when it does, then it definitely does know how to handle its tone. It's just that, yeah, to me, it really just sort of takes a while for that to happen. And while I do like the tone of the show, and I do like how it mixes them, yeah, it still can be a bit of a problem. However, I will say that right now is when the Tick is really needed. Yeah, it's been a long time since we've had an adaptation, and yeah, right now is the perfect time for him to come out of retirement. Because, yeah, superhero oversaturation is a thing, and yeah, admittedly, it is a little bit annoying. I mean, I love superheroes, but yeah, still, I won't deny that it is a little bit annoying with all the versions of stuff that we have right now, and not all of them being good. So yeah, it's really nice to have a character just come in and have fun with it, and yeah, that's really what this show is about. Having fun with the tropes of now. Yeah, it's really having fun with the superhero tropes that are going on right now. In particular, it loves poking fun at anti-heroes, which is something that Ben Edlund seems to really love to do. Yeah, I don't know why. Like, he really just hates anti-heroes, I guess. But yeah, like, that's something that's very prominent here. And I, for one, am very disappointed that Overkill is called Overkill. I forgot what the character on the cartoon was called, but yeah, there's a Punisher ripoff on there too. They could call him that, but no. No, to be fair, Disney does own the rights of a lot of characters on that show, so yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? Yeah, that's also why we're not getting Sewer Urchin and American Made. I mean, come on, guys, just give them the rights. You're not doing anything with them. Just give them back. What are you planning here? Just like, I want to see Sewer Urchin, okay? God. Sewer Urchin is awesome and deserves to be on this show. So yeah, the story, it's a rather good mix between the two tones. However, it does take a while to actually get into that. And then there's also the humor, which is a bit mixed to me, as, yeah, it's not really as prominent here. Yeah, like I said, this is the much more darker version, so yeah, it doesn't have all that much humor in it. Although I will say that it does have humor, and when it does, it's really funny. It's just, yeah, it's not there all the time, which is a bit disappointing to me. And they don't always fully embrace the absurdity. I mean, they do embrace it eventually, but at first they're just like, hey, look at that, a woman with lightning powers. Ain't that cool? Wow. And just like, they sort of treat it seriously, and that's not what I come for the Tick for. Although I will say, it is still fun, and it's definitely something that I do still enjoy. It's just that, yeah, I kind of do hope that they do embrace the more absurd side of it in the second season. Like, just sort of a natural progression to that would be really nice. Especially with someone like Chairface Chippendale. Like, if he comes in the next season, I can totally see them embracing it, and I honestly would not have a problem with that being how this happens. And yeah, really, I do want to see something like that happen. As, yeah, while I do like the humor here, it's not always prominent, which can be a bit of a problem, as that's something that the Tick is really well known for. However, one thing that I do want to bring up positive-wise for this story, because for some odd reason I'm not doing that, even though I've watched this show 3 times now. Yeah, I mean, I like it, but yeah, I'm not bringing up the positives that much. But yeah, one thing that I really do love about this show, the world building, which is great here. Seriously, I love the world building in this show. It is really, really good. Like, one thing that I personally love about it is that there have been U.S. amendments made in regards to superheroes, and I love that. Like, superheroes have altered this culture so much that there are actually amendments made about them, and I love that. I love stuff like that, and it is really awesome to see that. There are little things in the background, like brands that continue to show up, like BTC and Boham, which is like a weird ham thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's a really odd name, really. But yeah, there are little things like that that show up all the time, and it's great. There are little details in the background, which if you notice just make it all the better. Like, there's a news report about bees dying and why that needs to be stopped. Then later in the show, the terror's just like, I've been killing the bees. Ain't that evil? And it's just like, it's great. I love seeing stuff like that. So the world building in this show is fantastic. And yeah, they're saying that there's going to be even more of it in the second season. So I cannot wait to see that, because really, I love the world building here, and I really want to see it expand even more, because from what I've heard, it's going to be great. And then there's the references. Oh my god, the references in this show. So yeah, there are things recreated pretty much exactly, which is awesome. The most notable ones with this is like, well, when the Tick is falling and then goes to her flagpole in order to help him. And then it just sort of is brought down by his weight because he has super strength, and then he just sort of crashes anyway with the flagpole, though. So yeah, I love that being referenced. And also, there's the thing that has been recreated in every version of the Tick. The scene where the Tick thinks that Arthur's apartment is a superhero HQ. And yeah, it's pretty much created line for line, which is pretty much how it's done in every version. And I love it. Seriously, I love seeing that be recreated again. And it is great to see. However, there are also references to catchphrases, not just with the spoon one, which I'm still waiting for the Tick to declare that as he's going into battle. Season 2, you better have that. But they also reference Arthur's catchphrase that he came up with, which was, not in the face, not in the face. Yeah, he's truly a hero for the ages. So, yeah, yeah, his catchphrase definitely does sum up how timid he is, but yeah, I honestly love it, and I do love seeing that being referenced in this show. So yeah, I love that. However, there's also one that I want to bring up that no one seemed to be talking about, but was really unexpected to me. The one about giant pants. Yeah, this is honestly a reference. Yeah, in one episode of the cartoon, The Tick vs. Dinosaur Neil, they bring up how, well, let's just get him giant pants. That'll save this whole situation. I don't know how that works, but that was their thought process. And yeah, when the BLM, when they're coming up with ideas to stop the BLM, one of them's just like, why don't we just give him some giant pants? That'll work, right? Yeah, I love how that's referenced. I did not expect that to be referenced at all, but I loved seeing that. And yeah, there are little things like that all throughout this show, and I personally loved seeing that. And so, yeah, the story, while it does have some problems with it, mostly in tone, which is a little bit confused at first, and also in how the humor is handled, as unlike any other version of the Tick, it's not as prominent as it's ever been. However, I will say that I can definitely overlook that for its execution, as yeah, it does take a little bit to get its footing, but once it does, it continues to go on with it, and it does a great job with it. Some of the jokes aren't that strong, but yeah, it definitely does know how to make up for that. And yeah, honestly, I really enjoyed how it was handled. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the story on that. But the characters, now we still got some stuff to talk about there. So yeah, Arthur for one. Yeah, he is now the main character. Yeah, a little bit weird. Originally, it was pretty much Arthur and the Tick would share the spotlight, and well, that was fine, and it still kind of is that way, just with Arthur more as a main character role. And honestly, I don't mind this, as Arthur, admittedly, has been my favorite character in every version. I don't know, I just have a thing for the nerdy sidekick characters, so yeah, seeing one of them as the main character, especially one that I've gotten to know and like over the course of a few series and adaptations and versions, yeah, I definitely don't mind seeing that. Now, as for the darker backstory, I'm fine with it, really. I honestly don't have a problem with it. I mean, it feels a little bit random, but still, I don't mind it. And yeah, it definitely is something that I did enjoy, seeing a little bit more of a new side to Arthur, as yeah, there have been references to him having mental problems, like, you know, the mere fact that he just sort of wears a moth costume everywhere, and also the fact that he has actually been locked up in an institution before. Not only has that been something that was talked about in the comic, which again, I haven't finished that. I know there's a whole lot more issues than just 12, so yeah, I don't know if he's actually ever locked up in an institution in that show, so yeah, if you guys want to tell me about that, then go ahead. I would love to find out where that is, but yeah, I honestly don't know if that happens in the comic or not. I do know that Dot threatens him with that, though, and that's what makes him decide, yeah, we should go on a road trip, but yeah, still, it does take, yeah, I don't really know if that actually happens there, but he has been locked in an institution before, in the 2001 version, yeah. His mom and Dot, both of them were very concerned about his sidekick endeavor, so they decided, let's just send him to an institution for a little bit. He'll be better in no time. They end up realizing that that was amazingly a bad idea, but yeah, he has been locked up in an institution before, and yeah, I just sort of like them going a little bit further into this. So it is something that has been prominent with the character before, and I like seeing it explored a little bit more. And I honestly do like seeing him as a main character in a way. I mean, yeah, okay, he does still sort of share the spotlight with the Tick, but there's a little bit more of a focus on him. And honestly, again, I don't really mind that. I do like this character. I like seeing him handled this way. And I also like Griffin Newman's portrayal of him, as he does a really good job here. So, yeah, I honestly do like what they've done with Arthur here. And then there's the Tick, played by Peterson. Yep, nope, not even gonna try. I know I'm gonna butcher your name, Peter, so I'm sorry, I'm just not gonna say your last name. You're just called Peter here. So yeah, he does a really good job as the Tick. Not only is he an incorruptible superhero, which one thing that I want to bring up on that note is that the Tick is one of the few characters on this show. There are a few others, but he's one of the very few and the only real main character that doesn't swear. No matter what, he doesn't swear. And I love that. I went through the whole series again looking for that, and no, he doesn't swear once. I love that. That just shows how completely incorruptible he is, and it's just little things like that that I absolutely love about this. Like, just little tiny things like that that I just absolutely adore. It makes him such a unique hero. I mean, like now, even some characters that, well, actually didn't really swear before, now they are because they're getting new adaptations and stuff. And yeah, honestly, I love how the Tick hasn't been changed in that regard. Even his sidekick now swears a little bit, but him? No. Okay, well, actually, he has sworn before, mostly in the 2001 show, but yeah, that one, it definitely went for a much more different tone to it and did try and attract more of an adult audience. Well, yeah, teens could still sit down and watch it, it wasn't for kids. This show is kind of the same. However, I do like how they made that change. It definitely shows the Tick as much much more incorruptible, and honestly, I love that subtle bit with it, as I had to go back and rewatch the whole thing twice because I kind of forgot halfway through on my first rewatch. So yeah, I had to go back, watch it twice to make sure about that, and yeah, I can safely say he does not swear in this, and I love that. So yeah, the Tick in this, he's really incorruptible, and Peter does a really great job in the role. However, he's also still kind of weak-minded. Mostly in this show, he has memory issues, which is something that he didn't really have before, but yeah, it does definitely much more explain his, backstory. Yeah, guess we should get into that. The Tick has no backstory, or at least he doesn't know it. Yeah, he has no idea what his own backstory is. He just exists, and that's all that he needs to know. He lets destiny guide him, and, well, he just sort of embraces that. So, yeah, that's just kind of how things work with him. So, yeah, he has no real backstory or anything, and according to the creator, we will actually be getting into his backstory here, which I'm not quite sure how to feel about that. I kind of liked him just being a hero, and that's kind of it. But yeah, I am interested to see where they're going to go with this. And if the creator's finally ready to actually get into the backstory, I guess I can actually accept that. So yeah, he does a really good job as the Tick here. And I really do enjoy how he's handled here. And there are little subtle things that definitely do add a lot to him. Then there's the Terror. Oh, I've already talked about him a little bit, but he's fun in this. The actor does a really good job portraying him, and yeah, he definitely does carry that menacing while also comical side to him, and I really do like how that's handled. Then there's Miss Lint. Now, she's an interesting character. Now, she is not a pre-established character to my knowledge, which is something that is rather prominent with every version of the show, as yeah, really, they do kind of come up with a lot of new characters for every version. The show carries that tradition rather well when it comes to Miss Lint. Pretty much used to be the Terror's right hand, and after he died, she didn't know where to go, so she's just been taking orders from a rather lame mob boss. Really, she could have taken this guy out a long time ago, and that's what the Terror expected out of her. It's just, she doesn't really know where to go in her life, so she hasn't. And when the Terror returns, she realizes that, yeah, her glory days might not have been as glorious as she remembers. And really, I find her backstory and her characterization really interesting. Yeah, she's handled very well, and honestly, I do like this portrayal. She's an interesting character, and honestly, I can't wait to see more of her. I honestly really want to see where she goes from here, as, yeah, pretty much it ends with her betraying the Terror because, well, she realizes, yeah, he has really dumb plans, and then she just sort of decides to go be her own thing, seemingly. So yeah, I am interested in seeing where she goes from here, and yeah, honestly, I can't wait to. I think that she's gonna be really interesting as the show goes on. Then there's Overkill, who was her past lover, and pretty much spoilers, kind of, here. Some people saw this coming. So, yeah, Overkill, originally, he was a member of the Flag 5. In particular, he was Straight Shooter, one of the main members' sidekick. And he's also one of the debated 5th member. Yeah, they kind of debated as to who was the mascot and who was actually the sidekick. And, yeah, that's pretty much just him and Midnight. That's just sort of what they do. And Overkill is actually kind of decent. Yeah, I honestly didn't really expect that, given that Ben Edlund has kind of a hatred on anti-heroes. yeah, you guys can watch the first episode of the cartoon, and that is really prominent. Seriously, what they do with their Punisher ripoff there is, yeah, they really just kind of make him lame. However, I do like that he went to anger issues therapy. I love stuff like that. But yeah, Overkill, he's a much more respectable portrayal of a Punisher ripoff, and honestly, I do like that a little bit more, as I don't hate the Punisher. In fact, I rather enjoy him. I think that he's a kind of interesting character. So yeah, while I do get why a lot of people don't like him, I also do see why he's a good character. And honestly, I'm glad this show has been a little bit more respectable about that matter, and Overkill is a rather good character in his own right. Yeah, I don't. Honestly, I think there are some problems with him being too absorbed in cliche, as, yeah, there's, like, he randomly spouts out lines about how corrupt the city is, and it's just like, I don't chase death, death chases me, and it's just like, okay, so, like, yeah, those are his answers to random questions. And admittedly, they do point fun at this. It's just like sometimes they kind of feel random. But yeah, honestly, that is kind of a thing with some anti hero characters. So yeah, I honestly don't mind how he's portrayed here, and he's rather enjoyable as a side character. Then there's Dot. I'm a little bit mixed on Dot. Now, the reason for this is because in every other version, she's pretty much Arthur's anchor to a normal life. Now, she has gotten involved in superhero things before, most notably when she actually gets married to Dinosaur Neil. Yeah, she marries a guy named Dinosaur Neil. Like, really, why do they all call him Dinosaur Neil? Like, he's not actually a dinosaur all the time. I mean, I get that he can turn into a dinosaur, but he's not a dinosaur all the time, guys. Stop calling him Dinosaur Neil. Just call him Neil. When he's getting married, call him Neil. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much when she's gotten the most involved, or at least that I've seen. And she always sort of has concern for Arthur, which is a thing that's also prominent here. However, in this show, she handles things a little bit better than she did in the 2001 series, where she decides, yeah, he might be a little bit insane. Let's go lock him up in an institution. And then, like, a week later, I'll be like, yeah, this was a really bad idea, and then we'll just take him out. Yeah, I don't know what changed her mind. They don't even show what changed her mind there. She just did. Like, you're so convinced that you're finally gonna lock him up in an institution, but then you're just like, yeah, no, this was a really bad idea. Let's get him out. Like, why? But yeah, there have been different adaptations of her. Pretty much in the cartoon, the comic, she's more of an every person, and yeah, she's much more of an anchor to Arthur's normal life, and she is useful in that regard. In the 2001 show, she's more of a soccer mom, while also again being an anchor. And now here, she's a medical student who pretty much gets insides on the Pyramid Gang, and then eventually becomes a superhero in her own right. Well, okay, a hero in her own right. Now, I don't mind this change, but it's interesting. Yeah, she's never been that involved before, and now all of a sudden she is. So, yeah, really, I'm not quite sure how to feel about that. I don't hate it or anything. I don't hate her in the show. It's just like, it feels rather odd to me that they decided to do this with Dot, of all people. Like, it just feels really random to me, and yeah, it's something that kind of takes me out of her character, although I will say she does have her awesome moments. Like, she does really have some awesome moments in this show, and she has some hilarious moments. Like, I'll show you my favorite joke with her later, but yeah, it was hilarious. Like, there's a great joke with her training, and I love it. So yeah, there are definitely some hilarious moments with her, and some rather great moments, and she is still an emotional anchor for Arthur, and yeah, honestly, I do think that she is still a rather good character in that regard, and yeah, she is more of an independent character in this show, which is kind of nice. So yeah, I do like what they've done with her. It's just, yeah, I still know her as another version, so I'm trying to warm up to this version a little bit more. Then there's Dr. Karamazov. Okay, so, he's small. Like, he got involved in a shrinking accident. And yeah, and then he tries to grow himself and doesn't work quite right. So, yeah, okay. So, Dr. Karamazov is exposition, pretty much. He is literally exposition in one episode. Like, there's one episode where that is all that he is doing. He is just giving out exposition, and that is it. Now, to be fair, he is really funny on the show, admittedly, but God, is he just there for exposition? And honestly, that is a big problem with him to me. And yeah, honestly, I just don't find what's going on with him particularly funny. Like, yeah, he does have his funny moments, don't get me wrong, but yeah, pretty much he got involved in a shrink ray accident, and then just he tried to fix it, and then his head's just big and it looks rather lame. Like, the CGI there is really bad, making me kind of cautious about what they're gonna do with Chairface Chippendale. And then it's just like he gets a robot suit, and that's kind of it. It's weird, and it's honestly kind of lame. Honestly, I just don't find him that interesting. Like, he gets a robotic suit, and yet what does he do? He just continues to stand around the apartment. It's just like, hey, Arthur, you need to click a button. I'm useful in this show. Like, why? Just like, do something. If like you have a robotic suit, you can help here. You know that, right? Just like, yeah, honestly, I like him fine. It's just that there are a little bit more problems when it comes to him. Then there is Walter. Yeah, okay, so this is a character that's not that important, but I want to talk about because there is potential with this guy. Okay, so, I am pretty much 100% convinced that he was a superhero at one point, and that his powers somehow relate to feet. I don't know how exactly, but they relate to feet. Because pretty much one thing with him is that he's always asking about how people's feet are doing. So I think that his powers relate to feet in some way. And he's also a really good fighter, which is seen in the last episode. So I think that he's got to be a superhero. Or like, he was a superhero at one point. Something with him being a superhero. So, yeah, honestly, I'm just interested in seeing where that goes. Also, Walter himself is just hilarious on this show. Yeah, he's just a great character, and honestly, I can actually point to some people I know that are like him. So, yeah, that's probably what made him more fun to me. But, yeah, I just love Walter in this. And then there is Tinfoil Kevin. Yeah, we're kind of getting into minor characters now, but, yeah, Tinfoil Kevin, he's interesting. So, pretty much, he's a homeless guy, but he's not officeless. That's important. Yeah, he has an office in a robot's head. Yeah. And he's also a tech expert. And he's pretty much every useful thing whenever you need him. And he doesn't treat it like it's anything major. Like, yeah, I know robotic stuff, but that's kind of cool. So, yeah, I'm just gonna, you want to join my club? And it's just like, I love Tinfoil Kevin in this, and I want to see more with him. Really, he reminds me of, ironically, Kevin on Stand Against Evil. Just like a character who has so much backstory that it's just like, we're just not getting into. Honestly, I love that. I love Kevin on Stand Against Evil, and I love Tinfoil Kevin on The Tick. So yeah, both for similar reasons too. So yeah, honestly, I just really like this character, and I honestly just want to see more of him. And then there's Danger Boats. He has his own theme song. He's also played by a character from Firefly, so that's awesome. So yeah, Danger Boat, he's fun. I honestly think that he's fine, really, though. Yeah, okay, so he's fun at first. Pretty much, he's an artificial intelligence in a boat. So, yeah, that's his thing. And he's also in love with Arthur. So that's, something. I don't have a problem with this. I just want to know where it came from. Like, really, this is so random. Just, like, he meets Arthur, they talk normally, and then, like, in the next episode, it's just like, I'm in love with Arthur. I'm like, wait, what? Where did this come from? You just had, like, 2 conversations with him, and then love. That's how that works. I guess love at first sight, but I mean, like, okay, that's very random. It's something that that's something that's pretty much prominent with him throughout the rest of the series. And yeah, admittedly, I just sort of found it way too random for it to be something important with him. But yeah, honestly, he's fine, really. I don't have a problem with him, and I do find him really funny. Then there's Midnight, a talking dog who can set things on fire with his mind. You know, like all dogs. So, yeah, he's actually voiced by the original actor for The Tick, which is awesome. He also tells the new actor that he did a very good job in saving the day. So, yeah, that is an awesome moment right there. I'm still waiting for Patrick Warburton to make a cameo in this show. I'm sorry, he's a producer. He needs to get in this. So, I've heard someone say that he should play Barry. If you don't know who that is, pretty much he was pretty much in the cartoon and the comic, he was a character who used to be called the Tick and then won revenge against the new Tick, and pretty much they fought over their name until, well, the Tick won, and then Barry just was called Barry. So yeah, making Patrick Warburton Barry would be genius. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, Midnight, he's a rather good character, honestly. I love just sort of the zaniness of this character, and yeah, pretty much he has actually been done before, as he's actually a part of the comic and the cartoon. However, I don't really remember him having any team affiliation, so that's something that's new for him here. And yeah, he's a rather good character. Pretty much he used to work with Christian Soldier, and after his team died, he pretty much became an atheist and then decided to write a book about his journey. So yeah, and it's a bestseller. He also likes photography, so that's cool. So yeah, he's pretty much retired from the superhero thing, but yeah, he's still being rather successful on his own, and he's tried to move on past, well, the dark events of his past. And yeah, he wasn't involved in everything that happened to the Flag 5 because he was at the vet at the time. So yeah, kind of sad, honestly. Like, where were you when your team was dying? Oh, I was at the vet. You know, I mean, those fleas, that's a really bad thing. I gotta worry about that. So it's just like, yeah, he's a really good character in the show, and I love him. He's fun. And as a dog person, I love a talking dog that can set things on fire with his mind. So, yeah, and I hope that the setting things on fire with his mind thing happens at some point. Honestly, I just really want to see that now. So, yeah, Midnight, he's enjoyable in this show, and honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing where they go with him. As yeah, there is a little thing at the end of at the end of the final episode with him that's interesting. He says Big Brother is watching. Yes, truly, all of this is an episode of Big Brother. Okay, no, Big Brother. No, that show is really stupid. No, it's more of a reference to the original context of Big Brother from 1984, which is an interesting book, by the way. And if you guys haven't read that, you should. But pretty much, Big Brother is pretty much just like, well, pretty much people that, it's pretty much just control. Like, they have control over everything, and it's all sort of symbolized by a guy's face and, well, cameras everywhere, and pretty much having control over everybody's life. So yeah, when he says that Big Brother is watching, that's not a good thing. That's definitely cause for concern, and yeah, honestly, I'm interested to see where they go with that. And especially since a superhero organization, like a whole entire company about superheroes, is shown after he says that, yeah, I'm interested to see where they go with that. So then there's Superior, and honestly, much like with Midnight, I am interested in seeing where they go with this because, well, pretty much one thing that the Terror says at the end of the season is really what makes it interesting. Again, this is minor spoilers, but we're near the end of the video, so who cares? So, and also the second half of the show has been out for like a month now, so who really cares? So yeah, Superior. Pretty much he's our Superman equivalent in the show, and well, the Terror brings up that he wasn't actually trying to conquer the world, he was trying to protect it. And then Superior shows up and freezes him. Yeah, he doesn't kill him, he just freezes him. You know, that's much better. And then Overkill is upset that he didn't get his revenge, even though he could just go over there and just smash him. I'm just saying, like, just like shoot him or something. He's frozen right now. You can still get your revenge, you know that, right? But yeah, Superior, pretty much, I think that's what he meant by trying to protect the world. As yeah, pretty much his whole plan was in order to defeat Superior, and honestly, I'm interested as to what they mean by that. Is this sort of like a Reach thing, like from Blue Beetle? Is that what this is like? Because pretty much he has made friends with humans. And everyone trusts him. I want to know what that's like. I want to see where they go with this. I'm legitimately interested in what happens with this. And Superior is on his own in this season. He's fine. I do actually kind of like that. Yeah, when he defeated the Terror, he kind of had suspicions that he might have still been alive, but he decided just to leave it as is because, well, for one, he liked the fame and he just wanted the Terror to be over. I do like how he had more than just, oh, I just wanted the fame as his reason. Yeah, him wanting just everything with the Terror to be over could just been another excuse, but still. I just personally want to imagine that it wasn't and that, well, he just actually is a hero in a way. And not just, oh, I just didn't want to check into this anymore because, fame. So yeah, I honestly didn't want him to just be like that because to me that's not what Superman is like. And honestly, yeah, I want to see a Superman equivalent be kind of a hero in a way. And yeah, he is, and he's rather good in this. And then there's Ramesses 4, and I love him in this. Yeah, now I did say that he is a rather lame mob boss, but he's a fun lame mob boss. Like, he's just a really great character, and I had a lot of fun with him. And I'm rather upset that he died because honestly, I feel like there was a little bit more comedic potential with him. And yeah, now that he's dead, unfortunately, that won't happen. But he is still really fun in this show, and I loved him. So, for the Tick overall, I think it's a really good show. It's something that definitely deserves being talked about more as, yeah, it's kind of faded into obscurity immediately after it came out. Like, I heard some people talking about, like, hey, this is gonna be cool, right? And then no one talked about it. Like, hey, the first half of the first season is out. Okay. Second half of the first season is out. No one's talking about it. One guy talked about it, and that reminded me that this existed. Honestly, I feel like more people should be talking about this because this is a really fun show that is not only a really good parody of superhero things right now, but also is just a really strong show on its own. I highly recommend this show if you guys haven't watched it yet, and yeah, it's a lot of fun that has a lot more potential. And honestly, I just think that it deserves being talked about more. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Spoon! I needed to end this episode like this.